I'm trying to... Hello! Hello, everybody! Oh, God. It feels good to finally get this started. What's up, everyone? Hazer Thorn here, and I am here with a special guest. Guest, would you like to introduce yourself? So he's gonna be debating me, hopefully for the last time. Hopefully I don't have to do this a fourth time. For the, on the topic of who is better for who you should side with in the Skyrim Civil War, the Stormcloaks or the Imperials. Now, before the stream, he sent me this list of 11 points, high points that he wants to hit. So, we are going to just go down the list of each of these, and I'm just going to list off the first point he makes, and then I'm going to just let him take the floor to make his full argument, and then we'll just rebut from there as feels natural. So the first point here he has, military strength and better army. Pretty much the Imperials have a much larger and more organized army. Now, I've already addressed a lot of this in my 2.5-hour video, but AWACS, I'm going to let you take the floor now and explain what you mean.
Alright, great. Let's see, which one do you want to start off with first? I kind of want to start off with military strength. You want to start off with that?
That's literally what I just said. Were you not paying attention?
No, I was here.
Yeah, that's literally what I just said. We agreed before the stream to just go down the list of all the points in order that you provided here in your notes. So
yeah, you're right. Sorry. All right, cool. Oh. Sorry, I'm eating this sandwich. It's really good. Let's start off with the military strength, right?
Uh-huh.
First and foremost, okay, the Imperials have, like, a major army. Now, of course, a lot of it is not in Skyrim at the moment. However, if we were to take this military strength and army, they would be able to, I think, pretty much wipe the board with the Stormcloaks. And I think personally, like from what I've read in texts and from how their strategies work, I think they're just a better, well-trained army, in my opinion. They definitely want to have a more unified Skyrim with the Imperials, so, you know, I think that's what they're kind of trying to go for.
Well, for the starters, I disagree that I mean, you point out that the majority of the Imperial army is in Skyrim, and that might be true, but the reason why they're not is because they have to maintain outposts everywhere. So, like, if they were to just unleash the full breadth of their military might on Skyrim, that would just leave the majority of their empire, including Cyrodiil itself, entirely unguarded. So that would just be a fool's move. You mentioned that they would wipe the floor with the Stormcloaks, but I don't see how that makes the Stormcloaks any less morally justified. All you're basically arguing at that point is might makes right. So that I don't find that very persuasive either. And as far as wanting a unified Skyrim, well, the thing is, unifying people by the sword is just the complete opposite of the correct way to go about unifying the people. I mean, people are just going to be inherently divided. That's just part of humanity, and just trying to oppress anyone who dissents against you is the complete opposite of how you're supposed to go about it. We've lived in a democracy our whole lives. We've lived in the world's greatest democracy for over 200 years, and we rejected tyranny. We rejected the very concept of tyranny when we declared independence from Britain. So, as an American, I just do not believe that might for right. That is to say, the might should be used to do what is right, rather than those who have power get to be the sole arbiters of what is right. So no, I'm sorry, but I just don't feel this first argument is very persuasive.
Well, let's take it like this, right? And let's take I'm sorry, there goes my stutter. I'm a big stutterer, you know what I'm saying? Oh jeez, there goes my stutter. Sorry about that. Give me a moment.
I was
my brain reset here.
Up. I was starting to finish.
No. Yeah, I have a stutter. I'm a big stutter, from Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It happens, that's just how it is,
Mhm.
Right, so, if we're using real-world examples, let me give you an example of one thing, right? The French. Right, you know about, everybody knows who the French are. They're like that small country out in Paris. And so, France invaded, like other countries. They had like a pretty big military strength, and if you look at it, Napoleon really did kind of like bring together a lot of those countries during his time of ruling until he got like, I don't know, and honestly, like, is pretty much right. Like, you could have democracy and stuff. That's fine. I mean, you could also have a big, large military as well. Like, I mean, that's kind of like how modern United States is. Yeah. I mean, to this day, we got a democracy, but we also have like one of the largest militaries in the known universe, and it's
it's believed that even if every country in the world were to gang up on the USA, they still wouldn't be able to overpower us.
Exactly, dude. Like, we're literally military maxing, like Lockheed Martin maxing, like, dude, have you seen like the AIM-9 missile? That thing's awesome.
Yeah, I don't see
I'm a big
what
pilot
this
guy.
has to do with. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that the USA is morally justified in any country we decide to invade.
Yeah, that's true. But, I mean, like, we need oil and stuff for like the military. So it's like, it's, what I'm saying. I'm just saying. We had to go get Osama in like Afghanistan. But other than that, it's like, that's just how that rolls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, USA gets quite a lot of flack, justifiably so, for invading countries we don't really have any business in, just because we're basically dick-wagging to the rest of the world. And I believe a lot of that can be justified. Sometimes it isn't, sometimes it is. And my point is that to the extent that it is relevant to this debate, I don't believe that the Empire is better simply because it has a stronger army.
It's fair. I mean, I think because it's better in a sense of like military strength-wise, it's better because, I mean, the Stormcloaks, they do have armor, they do have like some military training and stuff, but more or less it's like they use guerrilla tactics. Now, it's been proven in real life, yeah, guerrilla tactics are like pretty much against a big army, like it's pretty much it's done, but if we're taking away from modern kind of looking things, like with guns and shit like that, and we're looking towards like let's say just like sword and shield kind of battling, then I think like if it were like a guerrilla versus the Stormcloaks versus like the Imperials in that of like a well-trained army versus like this small militia of guys wielding swords and stuff like that, I think overall definitely the Imperials would kind of like take over for them. Plus, like, in a sense, if you think about it, like let's think about this for a moment, right? If you wanted somebody to rule Skyrim, you want somebody with a big army. I'm talking about like a huge army. You don't want like some like, I don't know, guerrilla fighters. That shit would cause like civil unrest, I guess you could say, in the Skyrim realm. And honestly, like, if there goes my stutter. Let's take a minute here. Let me restart here. Better drink some Modelo. Sorry.
So yeah,
anyhow,
like you mentioned, guerrilla tactics. Let's we forget that during the American Revolution, the rebels used precisely those kinds of guerrilla tactics against the Redcoats, and the Redcoats thought that was dishonorable, that they weren't wearing bright red and standing in straight lines and just playing drums as they marched into battle to give away their position.
Yeah,
that like the Redcoats thought that was dishonorable, and yet And yet, obviously, as Americans, we accept by default that the rebels were morally justified in their actions. And also, you mentioned like you want somebody with a strong army. Sure, that's the ideal, but it's hardly dispositive. And the United States started out during the Washington administration with an incredibly weak army and no navy at all. And yet, Washington is widely considered one of, if not the greatest presidents of all time. And lest we forget that during the Whiskey Rebellion, where people tried to rebel against having to pay that whiskey tax because they didn't recognize this legitimate sovereignty of the federal government, Washington was able to put that rebellion down in the only time in history that a standing U.S. president personally directed troops in the field. We don't really need the absolute strongest army in order to have a satisfactory government. We just need a government that is capable of enforcing its laws within its own borders and capable of repelling reasonably powerful invasions. That's really all we need. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to have the absolute best army, just like how it would be nice to have the absolute best graphics card on my computer. Just because that would be nice doesn't mean we need it.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's about my rebuttal to that. So, your thoughts?
So first, right? And like how do I put this in a manner? Well, first off, we did during the Revolutionary War, we did have a navy, but it was like, it was like a ragtag navy that was stolen ships, But I get what you were saying. You know what I'm saying? You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but essentially, right? I mean, this is the Revolutionary War. Like everything's like, how do I say this in a manner? In a fashionable manner. Let me think of the words here. So essentially, right, Revolutionary War, we had there was guns and there was weapons and stuff, and like a lot of guns and stuff. I know in Skyrim they have cannons and the trebuchet. Everybody likes the trebuchet. However, right, there's no in my opinion, if there was guns in Skyrim, right? Yeah, I would 100% agree with you on those tactics, and how guerrilla warfare could definitely change the course for with those tactics of using black powdered rifle Revolutionary War guns. However, unfortunately, it's only sword and shield. However, though, you can argue this. That they could use archers and stuff like that. But to that, I reply with, well, there's also shields, and definitely, if you kind of take a look at the Imperials, they have I want to say they're more technically advanced, but in the sense of sword and shield, dragon wielding, vanilla guerrilla era kinda. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand that I fully concede
Yeah.
that the Empire has the stronger army. I just don't see what that has to do with anything. Yeah, yes, it would be nice to have.
Well, it has to do with.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
It would be nice to have the strongest army possible, but that's not a necessity, and that's something that needs to take a back seat to actually having a government that'll actually fight for its people to begin with, and that's something that the Empire has utterly failed on. What good is having all of that military might if they aren't going to use it to protect its citizens?
No, if you think about it, what the Imperials want is they want a more unified Skyrim / bigger empire, in a way, right? They want more or less Skyrim to be a part of their big empire. With that expanding, right, they want to kind of get more people in their militaries, more military strength, and that way it would protect more of their people. Now, it matters why they have a bigger military strength is because, well, let's say, for example, Skyrim, literally 1985, that the dragons are starting to be reborn again, and then those are like they're coming back after like thousands and thousands of years, you know, and even the Thalmor are like, whoa, here comes these dragons again. What are we gonna do? You know, like I mean, you could argue though that like Ulfric Stormcloak, he had that Agarthan's kind of stare, you know, and he kind of knew what was gonna happen. You know, and you could argue that he has like a pretty like well in-tuned idea of what could happen like during that, like with the dragons invading and stuff. But really, compared to the Imperials, I think the Imperials have it way better. Like as in like they've got that bigger army to kind of fend off against like those, you know, bigger threats and stuff like that. However, being like in the sense of like Skyrim right now, they are kind of like, I would consider them like the bigger threat, you know? But other than that, like, I mean, I think if you wanted to go for a more secure democracy and democratic route, I think we would have to give it to the Imperials, you know? And General Thaddeus there. So
General
that's just how it goes.
You mean?
Yeah, General Thaddeus.
Tullius. Anyway, that's
it's my accent.
It's basically, I just don't see how that has anything to do with the Stormcloaks not being justified or unjustified with their rebellion, though. So
right.
I suppose you've said your piece on this. I think the best we can do at this point is just move on to the next topic. So the next one on the list here is economy. I feel that the Imperials have a much larger and better economy compared to what the Nords/Stormcloaks offer. Okay, so would you prefer to elaborate on that now?
Right, so I think they have like a much better, well-endowed economy, if that makes sense. That being that, well, first off, they're trying to implement their own money system, right? And they're trying to like kind of better the economy for Skyrim, because like honestly, if you look at Skyrim's economy and their stocks, like they're really down on like their stocks right now, or at least on their in their kind of like area of like trading and bartering, if that makes sense. Like let's say for example, okay, I went to one of the traders in like Windhelm or something, and actually no, we could. No, Windhelm's good, yeah. Excuse me. So let's say I went to one of the traders for a moment, right? You know, and I was like, hey, I got these like, you know, iron swords here from, I don't know, the Imperials. You know, they're pretty good swords. I mean, they're not dull or anything. How much can you give me? And he would say 50 coin. 50 coin? This is like a new sword, and then when you sell it to him, he sells it back for like 500 coin. Are you serious? Like, come on now. Like, that's just like, that's highway robbery. And what I think the Imperials will do is essentially, I think they would bring in their own better economy. They'd have better like rules on selling and stuff like that, and bartering and such. And I think overall it'll bring economic stability to Skyrim, and you know, kind of get these kind of like Stormcloakers out of the Skyrim area by like you know, trying to like scam people out of like their well-earned coin from like whatever they do.
I'm sorry, but that's just not... first of all, the trade prices, the barter prices that you get in Skyrim are a gameplay mechanic. And for that matter, everything at Skyrim is completely homogenized compared to Oblivion, because in Oblivion, it wasn't just your mercantile skill that dictated the trade prices. It was it was the merchants also. It was also the merchants' and mercantile skill, but also you had to adjust the barter prices yourself, and find a sweet spot that the merchant would actually agree to. So it's just a complete apples to oranges comparison, and not only that, but the only real evidence we have of Cyrodiil's economy comes from 200 years before the events of Skyrim. So I'm sorry, but I just don't see any evidence that the Imperial economy is any better than Skyrim's economy, because we just have no evidence. We have no way of knowing anything in that regard.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. I mean, I agree, yeah, it's a gameplay mechanic, right? I agree with you on that one.
Which means that according to the rules, like, just so you know, by the way, just so everyone at home knows, we agreed to the same 6 rules as I listed in my 2.5 hour long video, which means that gameplay mechanics are not presumed canon, unless you can justify them as being canon, like we did with the racial starting skills. But, so unless you can justify that...
I can justify it.
Yeah, okay, so you can justify it, then go ahead.
Yeah, the way I'm justifying it is because, like, if you compare, right, Oblivion prices to Skyrim prices, Oblivion, they take the cake, man. Like, yeah, 200 years apart, you're right. However, that's how you know, though. That's how you know, in those 200 years apart, that the economy's definitely risen, and, like, it's harder for people to buy bread and stuff like that, you know? At least in Skyrim area. Now, of course, you know, again, like you said, gameplay thing. However, it could kind of, if you kind of look through, I forget where it was, that it said there was, like, in one of the, towns, shoot, I don't remember off the top of my head. Is it Thalmor? No, I don't think so. Damn. I don't remember. One of the towns, they had a book talking about the economic crisis of Skyrim, and how it's kind of like their economy's kind of crashed, and the Dow was down like about 30% in coin, and they were basically trying to fix that, but it just I guess it never really recovered. So of course, like the other kind of like keeps and stuff, they had to start like telling people, hey, we need to start charging people more for the bread so we could get more money for our keep, to upkeep our keeps. So that's at least where I stand on that, as like a gameplay / canon kind of thing. I know it was in one of the books, but I can't even remember where to find it.
Kind of disappointing.
You know, like I know it's in one of the books though.
Yeah, you haven't thought to have that book on standby when we started this debate. Like, what, you didn't come very prepared?
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
no, I came prepared. It's just in the sense of like an egg, you know.
Anyway, you mentioned let's entertain that for a minute, and let's say that it's a bad thing that we've had 200 years apart, and yet no real significant economic progress, or at the very least, economic downfall. Let's entertain that for a minute. The Stormcloak Rebellion has only been going on for a couple of months before the events of the game, so for the vast majority of the lore that we're talking about, Skyrim has been a loyal province of the Empire, so if the economy has been stagnant for the past 2 centuries, or even has declined in that time, whose fault is that?
I suppose it'd be the Stormcloaks, or like the people of Skyrim, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, but it's the Empire's job to create a bolstering economy. So if an economy, as a bolstering economy, hasn't been created, it's the government's fault for failing its citizens. You know, just like how
you're absolutely right. However, we have to remember, the Empire isn't fully into Skyrim just yet. Like, in the events of the game, they're trying to take over Skyrim, but, you know, of course they're not fully in there yet, you know what I'm saying? So, that's why the economy hasn't, like, really improved a lot.
You got it back.
However, though, if it were... I'm sorry?
you've got it backwards. The Empire isn't trying to invade and conquer Skyrim, it's trying to hold on to it. The Empire has always had control of Skyrim for the entire of living memory, and the Stormcloaks are trying to secede. So no, it's not that the Empire was not absent. They're not trying to get a hold of Skyrim and rebuild the economy. They've had hold of Skyrim, and they lost the economy as a result under their leadership.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I could see where that could happen. It was probably though that the bubblegum thug brothers of Thalius there. They probably kind of the reason the economy's crashed was because of their constant how do you say this not invasion, but it's what's it called? How do you say it? Not invade, guerrilla attacks, I guess you could say. That's pretty much what I'm trying to get across. Oh, by the way, going back to what I said about the thing, it was in Winterhold. That book, it's in Winterhold.
Do you know the title of the book?
Not at all. I don't remember it. I thought it was called The Economics of Skyrim. But I could be wrong.
I mean, let me put it this. I mean,
it's been a little bit since I've seen it.
Either way, that book obviously predated the Civil War because it had to have been in general circulation in a time when automotives didn't exist. So somebody had to ride a horse to Winterhold to drop off the book and circulate it. So that would have taken a long time. And so obviously it had to have predated the Stormcloak Rebellion. So again, we just go back to my earlier argument that it's the Empire's fault because they were the ones in charge when the economy crashed.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a fair statement. But if you think about it like this, right? It's not entirely the Empire's fault, right? Now, what I mean by that is essentially because of Alfred Stormcloak's constant attacks and his attacks on other places and pillaging and plundering and stuff like that. Then it's of course of course your economy is gonna start kind of going down, but then again though, if we look at it, from a certain point of view, I think the economy is a little bit better than it was before. Of course now it's kind of bad because the Stormcloaks, especially Alfred Stormcloak, that NY, he's just been trying to kind of take out or take over Skyrim. That's why our economy's been going down.
I disagree. They're just the rebellion just hasn't been going on for long enough for it to have that kind of effect. I can't see it. Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, we got to think about it like this. He got captured. And they captured him. They took his money, and that did kind of help out with the. That did kind of help out with the economy if you think about it. They took money out of his pocket so they could fund their imperial kind of war. Does that make sense?
Not really. I mean, yeah, wars you're gonna have to raise taxes during wartime. That's just inevitable. Yeah. But I don't see how that means that Ulfric has tainted the economy through his own bad governance.
You got to see it like this, right? A lot of the people, they really have that Nordic stare towards the Empire, right? Now, of course, it'll change once the Imperials take over Skyrim like that. It's gonna change, but for the time being, they've got that kind of already thinking the Stormcloaks seem to be a little bit better. The Nords are a little bit better than the Imperials. But if you think about it, the Imperials are really the more superior economy for these guys. At least that's what I. Jesus Christ! At least that's what I think. Sorry about that. Yeah, I get those. It's like a nervous kind of tick. Not nervous tick, but it's one of those, stutters. I'm sure you understand.
So, I guess, we'll just let the people watching at home decide who's right on this section, and then move on to the next one. Your next list was, diplomacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, diplomacy. Imperials usually go for a more peaceful solution unless provoked. Alright. So what do you mean by that?
Yeah. Like, so for diplomacy, right, essentially, if you look at how the Imperial government is structured, it's kind of like Rome, you know? You're aware of, like, what Rome is, right? You know what Rome is.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So it's like, oh my god, dude. Hold on, man. Hold on. Just give me a moment. Woo! I apologize. Yeah, I got a lot of stuttering in it, you know? But I digress. Give me a second. Let me lock in for a minute. Mod maxing you. Let me take one of these, take one of these. Yeah, though. Coding and stuff. Okay, right. What was it again? We
were talking about diplomacy.
Right, so... Yeah. Sorry about that. Right. So diplomacy, essentially, if there it goes again. Oh my god, dude, I am so sorry. Jesus Christ.
At least this makes it somewhat entertaining.
Oh yeah, dude, it's like there it goes again. Jesus Christ. It's like, man, can you believe Stewie Griffin broke into my house last night? That's why I'm like this too. Anyhow. No, but, if you look at, like, diplomacy, okay, like, that diplomatic solution, you know, like, if you think about it, you know, I think the Imperials are pretty, like, they're pretty based on that part, because they're based off of the, Roman, how do you say it in English, because I speak only Spanish, they're kind of based on that Roman ideology, you know? And, essentially the way Rome was structured, it was pretty well endowed, if you think about it, you know? Like, General Thales, he's got that light-skinned stare, you know? And he honestly knows what's best for Skyrim, if you think about it. As a, like, a strategic guy, he's very diplomatic in that sense as well. I mean, if you think about it, generals are kind of also politicians, if you think about it from a sense, you know? However, though, that's the least why I think that they're, like, diplomatic. Like, their diplomacy is a little bit better. Like, they won't attack you unless you, like, attack them. Then, of course, they're gonna, like, you know... They're gonna, like, you know, get bricked up and start, like, stabbing you to death 13 times, you know, with their big swords. That's also why I like the Imperials. They got really big swords, too, so... They look like Rome soldiers.
Well, that last point is entirely subjective, so it has no place in a debate like this one. Anyway, you mentioned that the Empire prefers diplomatic routes. I don't see any evidence for it, other than the fact that they're based off of they're modeled after the Roman Empire, even though they were also conquerors in their own right. Like, the fact that the Imperial Empire calls itself the Empire is also something that the Romans did, because they thought it was their destiny to effectively conquer the whole world. So, and everyone else were...
Like a manifest destiny.
Yeah, manifest destiny, right, that's it. Anyway, it was basically they thought it was they thought every other civilization that wasn't part of their rule were uncivilized barbarians, and they needed to conquer them in order to civilize them. But that is so... You mentioned that the Roman Empire were more diplomatic than they were militarian. I completely disagree. They were pretty militarian in their own right. And as far as the diplomacy is concerned, I disagree, and I explained as much in the original video, that the Empire tends to just be I'm all about passing laws, enforcing laws, and oppressing its citizens, and if you don't like it, too bad. We're the Empire, and fuck you. That's basically the Empire's attitude towards any attempts to enact change inside their jurisdiction. So I just do not see how diplomacy is something they would even consider, let alone. Least of all, there's also the fact that Ulfric tried for years and years to get people to start worshiping Talos again, get Talos worship legalized again. He tried at the Moot to convince people to secede from the Empire, and all of that stuff fell on deaf ears. His attempts at doing things the peaceful and diplomatic route consistently fell on deaf ears to the point where he just couldn't take it anymore. He just had enough. And then and only then did he resort to challenging the King Torek to a duel in order to start. And the Stormcloaks tend to resort to violence first. From my observation, nothing could be further from the truth.
But if you think about it, right? Let's go back to when Alfred Stormcloak, he was gonna take the Jagged Crown from the King of Skyrim before, right? What does everybody say that he did was unfair? He used his Dragonborn abilities, even though, well, like relative Dragonborn screen.
The Jagged Crown was lost in an old Draugr dungeon. There was... He never took... King Torek never had the Jagged Crown. That was an ancient relic.
Oh.
How much have you played Skyrim, honestly?
Oh, like 15 hours or so.
Oh my god! Are you serious?
No, I've played the game a lot. I've played the game a lot. Yeah, but I get it mixed up sometimes. You gotta forgive me. You gotta believe me,
Right.
Oh, hold on, you're breaking up for me. Say again?
I said, okay, fine. Hold on.
Yeah, fair.
Hold on. I'm gonna try and stop the stream and then reduce the resolution a bit. We're gonna be taking like a 2 to 3 minute break. We're all right. So, okay. So, before we had to take that break, you said that we were talking about how the Empire prefers diplomacy, and I made my case for how nothing could be further from the truth.
Right. Oh, wait, we're back on?
Yes, we're back on.
Oh, perfect. Okay, sorry. Right. So, like I was saying before, where was I? I think we were on the crown thing, right? Not the Jagged Crown, but why Alfred Stormcloak stole like the thing back. Hold on 1 second.
Basically challenged Torek to the duel.
Yeah. So essentially, though, everybody says that this guy Alfred, he cheated, blah blah blah. He cheated this, he cheated that. I know Nord. And honestly, if you think about it, it was kind of cheating in a way. So people who see their leader as like a kind of cheater, right? I mean, it's not really a good leader, not really a good leader. Now militarily he might be, right? I don't doubt that. But diplomatically, he seems like a guy who, he takes what he wants. He likes riding on horses and stuff and shirtless, and he likes taking what he wants. Like, he does what he wants, Now, which is not good, it's not good. You need to have that law and order in, It's like you need law and order, and he doesn't have that,
I couldn't disagree with you more, and let me just address those 2 points here. You say that Ulfric quote-unquote cheated. Well, bear in mind we don't really know much about what the quote-unquote rules are for this combat, but at the same time, I'd like to show you something here. This is a video, a fairly recent video, from one of my favorite Dragon Ball YouTubers, Mr. Fusion. He is reviewing Dragon Ball GT. As you can see, there's Ice and Nova Shenron on the thumbnail. Basically, he talks about how honor is the new stupidity, because he's discussing how Ice Shenron is supposedly a dirty fighter, but yet he scoffs at that. I highly recommend everyone check this guy out, because if people are watching my videos on my channel and they like my analysis videos, but they have even a passive interest in Dragon Ball, you'll love his videos just as much as you love mine. He is incredible. Anyway, he mentions how this whole what counts as honorable versus dirty is a completely arbitrary designation, and how especially when it comes to a life or death battle, there really is no such thing as honorable or dirty. That winning really is the only option, because the alternative is death. And how how it's preposterous to argue that certain moves are inherently dishonorable simply by dint of them being inherently dirty. That, like, he scoffs at that. So yeah, I highly recommend everyone give that video a look as it pertains to the instant debate, but also check out his channel overall. He's got over a decade's worth of excessively in-depth Dragon Ball analysis videos. So yes, so by all means, give that guy a look, and give that video a look, specifically because of how it relates to the debate we're having now. Anyway,
subscribe to AWACS. Skyhawk.
Do you have any videos, honestly?
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
like Arma 3 videos and stuff.
Okay, so next one, you say Ulfric just takes what he wants without regard to anyone else's property rights. I do not see one iota of evidence for that. Like, he has granted that giant the deed to keep the deed to his land. He ran it into a slum. He allows the Orc stronghold, I think the one that has the ebony in it, I think it's Narzulbur, or it could be something else. It's the one with the ebony in it. He allows them complete autonomy of government. He is absolutely for letting people live the way they want, as long as they don't infringe on other people's rights to do the same. That is, I have not seen one instance, aside from the duel with Torrig, and even that's a stretch, where he even arguably took what doesn't belong to him. I just don't see it.
He pillaged and plundered.
Where?
It was in one of the books.
Okay, you're gonna need to cite the book, or else it doesn't count.
That's fair. That's right.
I'll pull up UASP, the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, so tell me the book title and I'll search for it.
Perfect. Title, I'm not too sure, but I know it had to do with, like, the Stormcloaks lore. It was one of those books.
I won't be able to find it unless you give me the title.
Right, search around, like, Whiterun, it might be there.
Not in-game. I'm looking at the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages here, not...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm running around in-game right now trying to look for it. Maybe it was in Riften. Let me see.
Oh, dear God. You did not come very prepared, did you?
No, I did. I brought beer and some raisins and water.
No, I mean, like, for your arguments.
But yeah, you know, there's a better way to argue than without beer.
Okay, that's going into
up top, am I right?
That's gonna go into an Acerthorn moment right there.
Hell yeah, dude. Acerthorn moment. We have to create... Anyway, we gotta lock in. We're off track, right? We're off the rails even, you know?
Yeah, but what was the name of the book?
Let me see, I'm trying to look for him. I think it's like in Whiterun if I'm correct, but, let's just move on from that then, because I don't think I could find the book. If I find it, I'll bring it up again, but Part of that, you know. It is what it is, right? So,
All right.
Yeah.
So unless you can cite that source, and provide it, and actually provide the source for it, then we're just gonna move on to point number 4 here. Oh, this one I've got. Oh, this one's gonna be a good one here. Much more stable. Yeah, much more stable government. Essentially, compared to Nord governments, they have a much more stable government and better practices.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Let's hear this one.
I agree. Right here, actually, let's switch it up a bit. Let me hear your kind of like taking on it.
Frankly, I think I think this is a ludicrous idea because the yeah, because first of all, the crime systems in Skyrim and Cyrodiil are pretty much identical, at least as far as mechanically is concerned. They both have these systems where you are judged on the spot by guards who serve as judge, jury, and executioner, and you don't even get 2 seconds to tell your side of the story, and there's no due process at all. Like, I even have... hold on, let me pull this up. I even have a video, really old on my channel. Let me show you. This one, does Tamriel have a court system? And it's from it's from July of 2018, so this is a pretty old one, where I discuss whether or not that game mechanic actually exists in lore, or if it's just a game mechanic. But do they actually have a judicial system? So check that out, everyone. Anyway, in both Oblivion and Cyrodiil, the crime systems are almost identical. The only noteworthy difference, is that in Skyrim, your bounties are tracked differently for each hole. That's literally it. So you say they have better practices, unless you can point to something that is presumptively canon, like dialogue or maybe some environmental details or whatnot, which I don't think we do. I don't think you have any of those. Then I don't see how they have any much more of a better practices for their governance than Skyrim does. And for that matter, there's ample evidence that things are getting destabilized in Cyrodiil as well. Specifically, I'm referring to Cicero's journals in the Dark Brotherhood. The whole reason he had to uproot himself from Cyrodiil and flee to Skyrim for refuge in the first place is because it was too unstable and there was too many riots in the streets going on. For him, it was no longer safe for him. So he literally fled to Skyrim because he felt it would be safer for him. Because apparently there's way too many, like, the city of Bravil was ransacked and they were barely able to get the Night Mother's coffin out of there. And then the city of Cheydinhal, where they had their primary sanctuary, got destroyed as well. So even their sanctuaries weren't safe, even though they were protected by those magical dark doors. So somehow they were still in danger of being looted and plundered. He literally fled to Skyrim, where he stood the least chance of that happening to him. So you say that there's ample in-lore evidence. Skyrim is far more stable.
We're not counting DLCs, right? Like,
official DLCs we can.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you might be right. It's like, I kind of agree with you on the much more stable government thing, but I do have some rebuttals, if you will.
Okay.
You know. Okay. Right. Like, they're kind of, this. Good.
If they were to put too many troops to Skyrim.
It's like they're kind of doing like recruiter or something, or like somebody. And how goes? Yeah, it's unstable. But however, if we were to go with the whole siding with the Imperials and they reinvaded, I guess, brought some more troops in, because you touched some, looked at it that the Imperials have, most part people like thieves get killed, and and like not just thieves, but like rebel generals. They like.
So your argument is that they draconian punishments for the. So what's a
yeah. I just said.
Granted, it should also, as opposed to stealing some. So I believe the punishment should fit the criminal as much as it fits the crime. But I certainly don't believe in, like what happened in the movie Aladdin, where Jasmine and she almost got her hand chopped off. Yeah, I don't agree with that at all.
That's fair. Yeah.
So.
No. Let's say you're like a guy. You're walking the wood. Who is it? It's a Khajiit, and everybody knows that Khajiit. They're no good thieves, dude. Like, they always steal everything. They're cat people. I'm not too fond of those cat people, if you will. But, I guess we could call them, like, Arrivals for now, instead of the Khajiit, because, like, Arrivals are kind of like... So, like, the Arrival... Like, when you get robbed in Skyrim, essentially, like, he's like, hey, Dragonborn, you're just, like, a schmuck, Slice his head off, literally, like, in, like, the span of, like, 3 hours, probably. I think that's pretty justified, if you ask me, like, running up to some guy and, like, getting, like, trying to rob you. So... I think that's personally me. Now, I get it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't see how that's any different between Skyrim and Cyrodiil. In Cyrodiil, they had the Highwaymen, who would, there were 6 of them who stood on the same spot each game, who tried to rob you blind, and if you decided to resist them and then ran away to the nearest guard, the guard would come to your aid. In Skyrim, it's a random encounter, where I think it's a Dunmer this time, who tries to attack you, who's like, hand over your valuables or I'll gut you like a fish. And yeah, it's the same interaction basically. If you manage to flee from him, and manage to get spotted by a demon, just like they both communicate the same concepts. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I just don't see how that makes the Empire any better than Skyrim does.
I could see a final solution about the Grey Quarter to the Dark Elves, right? I'm not a big Dark Elves guy, even though they are sided with the Imperials. But I think that if you quote-unquote final solution that they do, I agree with that. It's pretty good, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, the next one on the list of your points, multicultural tolerance. The Empire is diverse and incorporates many different races.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Right. So they don't care. They don't really. Well, they. Hold on. Let me stop you right there, Jack. Right. Let me reevaluate, regroup, and reconquer this. Right. So essentially, though, right. For the most part, Khajiits, Dunmers, like the Dark Elves, and like all the other, everything else in between that is not like an orc or some shit, or like the cat people, or like the lizards. Anybody else in between is pretty much like they're very inclusive of. And even then, like, I mean, they still allow like some cat people into the armies and stuff like that too. So it's like, let's say if you look at like let's say the Grey Quarter, right? We're looking at the Grey Quarter. These these Stormcloak guys, they segregate all these people. That's just racist, They're just like, hey, see these other animals? They look bipedal and humanoid, not human, humanoid. That's a very distinct kind of like differentiate. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, differentiate. Can you say it? I can't, because I can't get it. Thank you, Jesus, differentiate. There we go. What was I talking about again? Fuck. Shoot, I was like, I had it too. I was like, okay. Oh, right. Because the Stormcloaks, they kind of differentiate, between those. While the Imperials, they don't really care, Like, as long as you fight for the Imperials or the Empire, they'll be like, hey, it's pretty cool, and you're fighting for us. And yeah, so.
But I've already
with the
expressed
storm
that in the original video.
Right.
I've already thoroughly debunked that.
Oh yeah, the Stormcloaks, you know, they want to just keep it, you know, like better than all of you, you know. Oh, don't get me started with the lizard people too. Like the lizard people, they work in the docks, dude. Like they can't even go near the city. The Khajiits, they could at least like live outside of it, but like. The lizards? No, man. They're 24/7 foremans working on the dock, you know, bringing in the shipments from the Oblivion area, and now with the Imperials, it's definitely different, you know. It's definitely different for
It makes sense in the sense that there's no grammatical errors in what you said. Although, let's be honest, you stuttered a lot. Anyway, the point is, I've already thoroughly debunked that in the original video, and I've already given explanations as to why that's not as racist as you make it seem. So
I don't know.
Listen,
let's think about it like this. Let's think about it like this, okay? Like, let's say, right, you have a city, right? Let's use New York, perfect example. All right. This is very diverse. Let's say, right, you were living in New York, and you were like, I don't know, like let's say you were a lizard person, and they were like, hey, I don't want you fucking lizard people in my fucking city, get out! But you can stay in the docks, so we can use you for work. That's pretty much downright like slavery, if you think about it, or it's pretty much like slavery if you think about it, you know? I think the Empire will definitely bring about more, like, hand in hand, you know, grab a guy by the ass and ball sack and say, shake their hands and go, you know, we're inclusive and diverse, and girl boss power. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Well, I already explained that there's a good reason why the Argonians are restricted to the docks. So,
that's fair. You should remind people though, because it's like, you know, it's to know.
I mean, my reminder is to just go and watch the original video. Honestly.
Yeah, but you know, it'd be better if they were reminded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically designed to keep the powder keg of, the short version of it is that it's designed to keep the powder keg of racial tension between Dunmer and Argonians from exploding. That's basically what it is.
Well, see, so in a sense, instead of like having people like come together, they were like segregate them. It's pretty much like mirroring how we were like, you know, a lot of racial tensions. Let's keep segregation. You know, it's literally like that. Like, I mean, I agree with it. You know, like I think, you know, so keep them all segregated or whatever. I don't want to live with cat people, but in the sense when it comes to an Imperial standpoint, that wouldn't happen. I think they would come up with a solution, you know, diplomatically and sit down and, you know, have maybe like a Martin Luther cat person come up and say he has a dream where one day the cat people and the humans could live together, you know, in the castle. So it's all really of a matter of time of when the Imperials could take over. That's just how I see it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, bear in mind that even during Oblivion, there was racism between the Argonians and other races. Like, for example, in the Thieves Guild questline, there was this one woman who wanted her wedding ring back, and she was like, he is merely Argonian. Much yet, Leowyn had some literal fucking torture chambers for Argonians.
That's real.
So yeah, I don't see how the Imperials, how the Empire is any less racist than Ulfric Stormcloak in that regard. At least Ulfric Stormcloak has practical reasons for keeping the Argonians and the Dunmer separate. The Countess of Leowyn had nothing but racism for its own sake.
Well, we gotta remember, alright, Alfred Stormcloak's kind of like his background he was born from Yakubian ape there. Right. It was like a part of the Yakubian tribe. And that's why how his views are a little bit like more, I guess you could say, like towards segregation, you know? Because he's that's just how he was kind of like raised during the Skyrim eras, you know?
He's with open arms, and actually treated them pretty nicely, even though they abused that royal treatment. And when so his father literally raised him to be inclusive, and then it's only when the Dunmer just kept taking advantage of that inclusivity and kept exploiting it and kept treating everyone else like they were beneath them. Then and only then did Ulfric do what his father didn't have the nuts to do, and just told him, that's enough, you're out of here. It's just that the Dunmer just kept pushing him kept pushing his buttons until he just couldn't take it anymore.
And let's not forget, like, you know, because, like, he was also influenced by the power of the Yakub there, too. So, but also because, like, the Dunmar were also, like, trying to kind of push his buttons, and they succeeded. And well, you know, you get what you get, and they put him in that segregated area, you know, and that's really why he's still there if you think about it. But you know, and by the omniscience grace, you know, maybe one day. Oh Jesus! I got a raisin stuck in my throat. Fuck. Sorry about that. Anyhow. How do you say this? Well, whenever the Imperials take over, of course, maybe they'll kind of like remove that segregated area. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that doesn't mean Ulfric was racist for having put it there in the first place.
I don't know. Like, if it's here's the thing, right? Racism is generalized by like a group of people. Okay, so like if he was like, you fucking Dunmar, I'm gonna put you in this. Yeah, I get that. Like, if it's an individual person, it's like, you fucking Dunmar, you bitch, I'm putting you in jail, or you banned from the city. Yeah, I get that. But if it's a generalization of all of them, then it's...
Say the Imperials don't have a problem with that. First of all, I've seen no evidence that the Stormcloaks have a problem with it, and second, I again remind you of Countess of Leowyn, who was blatantly racist to the point of even being genocidal against Argonians.
Which one was Leowyn again?
Huh?
Which one was Leowyn again?
The one in the far south of Cyrodiil.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now I remember. Human, I'd say. I can see your point there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm right, honestly, that Ulfric is just getting a lot of crap for being racist, when really the only racism is from the people who come to Skyrim expecting to be treated like royalty, didn't get it, and then called that racism. So
yeah, that's fair. But it's not really like racism much, it's like, it's in the sense of like they expected to be treated like oh shit, I tried to roll my R's, hold on. Royalty, but really they were treated like not royalty.
Exactly.
Instead, it was kind of like treated in like a sense of like, you are different, you get segregated now, and they put them in like a little thing. I mean, at the very least, it's to your argument, at least they're not like, the Stormcloaks aren't like running around stabbing them to death. So that's good, at least. You know?
Yeah. In Leowyn, they had a literal the capital had a literal torture chamber inside it for Argonians. So yeah, that was insane. Yeah.
That's just crazy, dude. Like, how could they do that, you know? That's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I should probably go and burn that city to the ground, actually. I think about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, and lest we forget that, think about it this way. Who, in terms of environmental details, what are the two most racially diverse cities in Skyrim? They are Winterhold and Riften. They have those two cities have, I think, pretty much 8 out of the 10 races each. The Windhelm has every race except, I think, orcs and White Elves. So they, so those two cities start the game as being Stormcloak aligned. Windhelm, of course, is Stormcloak aligned. So you talk about multicultural tolerance. Windhelm is tied for first place for being the most racially diverse city in all of Skyrim.
Yeah. But they're technically like an independent city. They're not really a part of like the Stormcloaks just yet. Well, unless of course, you know, you actually
Windhelm is the Stormcloak stronghold.
Okay, I'm getting it confused. Yeah, that's fair. I suppose that's fair. You know, but like I said again, you know, if they wanted more to be like have more people to fight with them and be more diverse, I think personally, I think if you were to punish individuals, that would be fine. If you were to like segregate an entire race or group of people, then yeah, that's pretty bad. It's bad, you know. You know, that's just contrary to popular belief. What people think, something right he's thinking about, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't see it. I look more at the grand picture. I don't believe that I give Ulfric the benefit of the doubt. I don't just automatically judge him just because segregation, therefore racist. I don't think in terms of that black and white. So
no, it's not just because of that. It's also because and also he's Dragonborn too. You can't forget that he's Dragonborn.
Dragonborn. He learned how to do the shouts the old-fashioned way. He absorbed its soul and instantly learned how to do a new shout. So the Dragonborn can unlock like hundreds of shouts in his lifetime effortlessly.
Then, you know?
Yeah, we're the player character anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, I suppose that does it for alliances. The Imperials have the ability to form alliances with other provinces and groups. Good. I gotta hear this from you. Come on.
Okay, let's see here. Hold on, let me... No, that's my resume. No. Are we on?
6.
Oh, right. Right. Wait a second. I was eating these raisins and they're getting stuck in my teeth and such, you know? Mm-hmm. God, I like raisins, but... Oh man, they kind of make my mouth dry. Fuck. Maybe beer and raisins isn't such a good idea, you know?
Yeah. I really want to see. I really want to see what your argument here is, because from my point of view, you talk about beer and raisins, it honestly sounds like you came up with this point while you were drunk.
No. Listen, okay, let's think about it like this, okay? Don't look like that. Don't look at me like that. Look, there's the strategic alliance, okay? Alright, so essentially, Imperial ability to form alliance with other provinces and groups. Now, this goes back to what I said about multicultural tolerance, by the way. Whoa. Yeah, you're really locked in there. So this goes back to my strategic alliance thing. Oh, zesty look. You got that zesty stare. The Imperials have the ability to form alliances with other provinces and groups such as the Dummer and Argonians. So essentially what I'm saying is, right, let's think about the Dark Elves for a minute, right? Let's think about the Dark Elves and the Elves for a minute, okay? Well, listen, okay? Let's say you were an Imperial, alright? And you wanted more allies. Who would your most powerful ally in thoughts be?
I would argue that the best ally is one whose homeland has not been completely ravaged by a volcanic eruption and who are reduced to a fraction of their former selves. So,
but you gotta think about it like this, right? What would you rather have, right? OnlyFans daughter or gay son? And in this case, this is, what would you rather have? The Dunmer or, like, a little Khajiit, right? That's essentially what I'm trying to get at here, okay? So, the Khajiit is pretty much the OnlyFans daughter, and the Dun.
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
No, just hear me out. Hear me out for a minute. Just hear me out. Daughter. Does that make sense?
In combat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like it's
that. I mean,
it's like,
that's only because men are inherently biologically more powerful than women. That has nothing to do with strategic alliances. Where are you going? Like, where are you going with this?
No. Just hear me out. Just wait, because it's there. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to say is, right. You will want somebody who knows more magic than somebody who doesn't know more magic. Does that make sense? Because, like, listen, all right, magic is pretty overpowered in the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, dude. Let's take the greatest example for example, okay?
100%
right? That is like literally like the craziest kind of thing, right? Craziest kind of magic. Who has the most like magic to them? Dunmers. The Argonians technically, tiny bit, but not really. They're locked in, so, you know.
Okay, so okay, so here's my rebuttal, and this is why I think this is such a laughably bad argument here. First of all, the Dunmer have been. Now, I want to point this out. Prior to, let me show you this. Prior to this debate, you agreed. I asked you, do you have any problems with my 9 different undisputed facts? And then you said you had no problem with them. One of those. One of those.
Is that SpongeBob?
One of those was that Morrowind was borderline completely uninhabitable, because as evidenced by the fact that the Dunmer refugees had to flee all the way to Skyrim. That simply fleeing to a different part of Morrowind wasn't a plausible option for them. So Morrowind is pretty much, for all intents and purposes, uninhabitable right now.
Yeah, but they live in Skyrim.
Yes, but they pretty much have 0 military worth right now. They have no infrastructure, they have no civilization, they have no cities, their population is a fraction of what it used to be. There is pretty much nothing they can offer. So the Empire can strike a strategic alliance with the Dunmer, but what good is that going to do? That's not going to do them much of anything. So let's move on to the I'll hear your rebuttal in a moment, but let's move on to the Argonians for a minute. Unlike the Dunmer, the Argonians are still at full strength. They pretty much, back in the Oblivion Crisis, they handed Mehrunes Dagon his ass. And they
like on a platter.
Yeah, they pretty much just came out of the Oblivion Crisis unscathed and superpowered because they had licked the Hist sap, and they pretty much. And while the Dunmer were still licking their wounds from the 1-2 punch that was the Oblivion Crisis and Red Mountain erupting, they pretty much invaded Morrowind and just slaughtered them left, right, and center. And you say that so while they have significant military power to offer to the Empire, but if you think the Empire can strike a strategic alliance with them, you got another thing coming. Because that was the one part of Tamriel that Tiber Septim never fully conquered in the first place. He basically just conquered the coastlines and said, that'll do. But the inside of Black Marsh was never conquered, was never even invaded, because it was uninhabited, because the swampland was just too inhospitable to the races of men and Mer. So they basically just let the inside do its own thing, and that was the one part of Tamriel that Tiber Septim never fully conquered. So while the Argonians have a lot of military might to offer to the Empire, if you think the Empire can strike a strategic alliance with them any better than the Stormcloaks can, oh no, they cannot.
Now, that's a pretty good argument. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's pretty good. Hold on, sorry. Sorry, my girlfriend's texting me. Sorry, my bad. What were we talking about? Oh, you're okay. Right. Yeah, no worries. Okay. So essentially, okay, right? Now I get it. Dunmer, destroyed, it's gone. You know? Cooked. Wallahi, we're cooked. You know, we're done. Finished, even. Now, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. In the realms of Skyrim, it's not dominated by just one big army, but it's dominated by individuals as well. So what I mean by this is, right, the Dunmer have a lot of people who have very good knowledge on, how do you say this, in Agarthan? They have some pretty good knowledge with, like, magic and shit. And essentially, like, it could be like, they could turn the tide of the battle. They could shoot like fucking, like, not lightning bolts, but they could shoot like fire from their penis. I mean, that's Skyrim. It's equivalently, fire is equivalently, like, that's like pretty much like chlamydia if you think about it. So it's like they're shooting fire from their penis and that shit. And that's pretty much why it's like they're a pretty powerful ally. They could like, they know magic a lot, Sure, they don't know fuss row and shit like that, but they know a lot of good, like, little staff magics,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not as, like, people think about magic because we're the player, as it's like, oh, it's as simple as picking up like a magic staff and waving it around and going, but it's not, dude. It's not. I'm here to tell you right now, it's not.
You still there?
Like, no, yeah, I'm trying to think. But it's actually, like, it's years and years of study. Now, granted, we're the Dragonborn, so that, of course, our magic is like, we instantly know what magic is, but, or how to use it. But, for the most part, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's why they're a pretty powerful ally, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. But, also, like, it's not just only them as our allies for, like, the strategic alliance, but it's also the fact that, like, they can get more allies. Like, they know how to, they're pretty much like, you ever seen, like, a guy walk into, like a bar and he's a pretty smooth talker? I would consider that the Imperials in a way, Okay. That's my argument.
That's one of those things where the racial stats and bonuses are canonical lore, because one thing that the Imperials typically have going for them is having higher than normal speechcraft and mercantile skills.
Oh, yeah, they got that light skin riz, dude.
Yeah, and they have the voice of the Emperor power, which is great at obtaining allies. So it helps to convey that the Imperials are master diplomats and statesmen. So yes,
like Warhammer.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that we don't. That doesn't mean that the entire government needs to be comprised entirely of Imperials. If we need a diplomat. If the Stormcloaks need a diplomat, they only need a couple of Imperials who are just natural talkers and naturally charismatic. They could just use a couple of Imperials, and even if they need more than that, the Imperials could just train the Nords to be more social.
That's fair. By the way, something moved in your room. Is there somebody in your room right now?
I'm not aware of it. No, nobody's in here with me.
Oh. Something. Well, it's like the blurry vision, so they look like something. Anyway, so that's not important.
But
you
should. Me?
I don't know. You should go. You should grab your gun and, like, start shooting it, though. Whatever it is that's moving back there.
Yeah, nobody's
okay.
Here. Yeah.
No, yeah. Like, I always keep a gun under my desk in case somebody breaks in my house, because, like, you never know, man. I'm a big Warhammer guy, and I like to paint minis, and, like, people like to steal that shit, man. That's real. Cheats and shit.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. Stewie Griffin, Family Guy, funny moments. So, let's get back on topic here. We're a little off topic here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't see how you have any how your argument that they can form strategic alliances. And lest we forget that even if we assume for the sake of argument that they could form strategic alliances, that just goes back to the argument about how they have a much stronger army. I mean, it might be true, but that, in my opinion, that is irrelevant to whether or not you should side with them or not.
Well, let's think about it like this, right? Let's think about it like this. Okay, you thinking? Put your thinking cap. Oh, you already kind of have a thinking cap on, actually. So anyways, let's lock in here. All right, let's lock in here. Okay. All right. So, fuck, man, I had it too. I completely forgot. That's just how that goes, man. That's just how that goes, you know. Sometimes, you know, it's like, you know, sometimes you be sitting there stroking it, and then you forget what's going on, you know. That's just how it goes. What were we talking about again?
Strategic alliances.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so the strategic alliance, right? Strategically, okay, it doesn't always have to be upon like military strength, right? You gotta remember that. This could be diplomacy, diplomatic. Yeah, see, you get it. I just saw you do the stroking thing. You get it. The stream's a little late. But yeah, so like, you know, like you got to think about it like this, right? Diplomacy, strategic alliance doesn't always necessarily like mean like just military power. It also could mean like economics and political power. Like let's take a look at like some real world examples for a moment.
Like Athens versus Sparta.
Exactly. Sparta was given to the Covenant, and the Covenant were a part of the German army at the time. Well, they weren't really called the German army, they were called the Ottoman Empire, but you kind of get where I'm coming from, right? So yeah, you know, it could also mean political rise to power and such. That's just how it goes, though, man. That's just how it goes, you know?
I understand, but again, first of all, Skyrim has a few Imperials in it that could rise to the occasion if need be, and even barring that, that doesn't make the Empire morally justified in not letting Skyrim have its independence.
That's true, but, you know, you gotta think about it like this. Morals, schmorals, you know? Like, if everything was based on morals, you know, Skyrim would be just like, it'd be like everything would be run by... Everything would be run by, like, people who are, like, crazy, you know? Bad people. But, you know, you just gotta do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying? You gotta do what you gotta do, and sometimes you gotta put those morals into the background. So, you know, you gotta realize that, you know? That's why we have a strategic alliance, I know I have one of my notes here, hold on. Let me see, oh, right. Plus, like, let's say, oh, hold on a minute. Let's see something here. But yeah, anyways, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I just simply disagree with your argument of morals schmorals. I believe morality should dictate what side we take, and according to lore, whichever side the Dragonborn takes is the side that wins.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think that like Ulfric Stormcloaks should like keep like segregating people.
All right. So, number 7, Division of Skyrim. The Stormcloak Rebellion divided the people of Skyrim, creating civil unrest and violence across the province.
Ah, right. This one I'm pretty well endowed with, well informed, even if you could say. So, let's go back for a moment to when I talked about fucking A, Alfred Stormcuck. Okay, he was like fighting the High King of Skyrim. Okay, so Alfred was like, "Hey, I want that crown." And the guy was like, "Fight me in combat for it," and then they lost, and boom, he got the crown, but he used like Fuss Row or something like that on the king, and so the king was like, fuck, man, hey, fuck, man, you can't use that," and then he died, you know? He died because, like, Alfred used his Fuss Row powers on him. And everybody, and people, it was kind of like a mixed thing from people, you know? They were like, Whitney Sigmar, you can't do that. And he was like, the fuck I can't, I just killed the king, now I'm the king. You know, it's like, you think you're the king? No, I'm the king, you know? little Nick A30 reference for you there, you get that? You get that? It was a little reference there.
Yeah,
but anyway.
That's not how it went down at all. Ulfric didn't simply take the throne once he had killed Torrig. He abdicated. He didn't try to seize power. He actively wants the Moot to select the new king. So
the Moot?
Yeah, don't you know what the Moot is? How long have you been playing Skyrim?
24 years. I'm a 78 now. October.
Anyway, it is getting kind of like he returns to Windhelm, and right now Skyrim has no High King, specifically because he refused to accept the throne unless he was so appointed by the Moot. So so he didn't usurp the throne like that. He's fighting the war because he wants to drive the Empire out of Skyrim, and once the Empire is driven out, there's really not going to be anybody else with a serious claim to the throne besides him. But he refuses to accept the Empire as being there, but he does allow Eliseth to remain on the throne. So he does have at least one official opponent to campaign against for the throne. And as far as the and you mentioned, and let's just say that he divided the people. I mean, who divided? Was it Ulfric who inherently divided the people, or were the people already divided? And Ulfric was just the Luigi Mangione of this particular controversy. He just had the balls to do what everyone else was feeling.
What are they doing? Little Italian for you.
Okay.
It was just because we name drop Luigi Mangione, you know? Every time you name drop that guy, dude, you gotta say something Italian so he doesn't come and, like, shoot you with, like, a suppressed 9mm.
I've never heard of that rule. That's ridiculous.
No, that's real.
Anyway.
No, it's real. It's real.
Anyway.
Look it up on Google, like, right now. Anyways, though, no, but, while you look that up, though, right, I'll argue with you, I heard different from an actual character in-game. It was like I don't want to say he's like a random NPC, but he was like he's in the game. I don't know. He's like not important, but like not like unimportant. Does that make sense to you?
What did he say?
Essentially, he talks about like how God damn it, my brain's going like it's growing rivets right now. Just give me a minute. No, but essentially, what he kind of like tried to argue was Alfred Stormcloak was actually the one who just took power, and paid off the Moot, like, or at least like he gave like the Moot a bunch of coin or something shit like that. I've never heard of that accusation before. You're gonna have to provide a definitive source for that. Oh yeah. If I'm correct, let's see. His name was like Ivar, and he was in Helgen. Well, actually, let me fast travel to Helgen. Let me see if he's there. Yeah, Helgen. Helgen gets destroyed immediately, so there's no time for anybody to have any meaningful dialogue there. Yeah, he's there though. If you go later in the game down there, you'll see that it's been somewhat repopulated, but not really. With bandits? Yeah, exactly. If you side with bandits, he'll like tell you or talk to you. But how do you side with the bandits though? Oh, I have no clue. I saw it on a YouTube video. Then it must have been a mod or something, which isn't canon. No. I tried looking up Ivar the Homeless mod, and literally nothing came up. Okay, you say try looking it up. Yeah, I think it's Ivar the Homeless. Pretty sure.
This I just entered Ivar the
look it up.
Homeless, and there's no
Ivar.
page for that.
Oh, there's Ivar the Boneless. That's funny. No, it should be there though.
There's no Ivar the Boneless either. Look, I just entered it.
No, not in like Skyrim, like in like actual like real life, like because like I looked it up on Google just now, like Ivar the Homeless. I could have sworn there was an Ivar the Homeless though. Like I swear to you, I saw there was like an Ivar the Homeless, and it was through my gameplay too. Yeah. It's like I don't use mods, you know. Like I don't know how to use mods unless it's Steam. I mean, wait, actually, let me double check because I played on the Xbox. You know, like whenever you're playing Xbox and you say Xbox turn on, that's pretty much what I'm trying to get at
here.
The
last Xbox I owned was the Xbox 360.
Yeah, where I'm from, they call it the X-Cock. Yeah. Let's see. So I'm trying to run around right now, looking for like Ivar the Homeless, but I just can't fucking find him anywhere. This bitch is getting attacked by a wolf. Lydia. Yeah. Who'd you marry in Skyrim, by the way?
Depends on my playthrough.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I always marry Lydia because she kind of reminds me of my dead wife, so like a little bit. She has like the same like kind of brown hair, and she's got that riz. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we're getting off topic here, though. We gotta get back on topic, right? So
yeah, there is
where
no
were we?
Ivar the Homeless in Skyrim. I checked.
Damn.
The unofficial Elder Scrolls pages would have had a page on him if he existed.
Like, not even in the mods?
Well, mods don't count. Mods aren't canon.
Oh, that's weird. Because I swear to you, I've seen Ivar the Homeless before. But, well, hey, if it's not...
It must just be the Mandela effect for you.
Yeah, maybe. Like, I played it like a week ago, so I could kind of get ready for this, you know. But unfortunately, I guess I don't know. I guess there's no Ivar the Homeless, you know.
Yeah.
Well. So. Anyways, though, but I know it was a character though. I know it was a character that talked about that he had bribed a moot or something. But I mean, I don't know where, because it's like, okay, there's no Ivar the Homeless, so where's the guy who told me about the bribe? You know what I'm saying?
That is an important accusation here. So if you can prove it to be true, that would be a huge point in your favor. But there's no evidence for that.
Yeah, it happens, you know. Sometimes, like, the devs, they go into the game, they delete the files. So maybe he was in there, but they just deleted the file for Ivar the Homeless.
It would still be in the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages.
Yeah. But then again, it did, like, Skyrim got updated, like, a few days ago.
I haven't properly played Skyrim in a good long while. Okay, so let me show you something. I just entered the word bribe in Ulfric Stormcloaks page, and the word doesn't exist in this page. So I also just tried to Google search for did Ulfric Stormcloak bribe the moot, and I didn't get any search results that would even suggest it, giving me a definitive answer for that. So this is the first time I've ever heard of something like that, but there's precisely zero evidence for it.
That's just how it goes, I suppose. Like, you gotta always think about it like that, you know? That's just, I guess that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Who's that SpongeBob guy, by the way? Go back to your Discord. I want to see this SpongeBob guy. What's he about? What's his story?
Don't worry about that. That's from my day job.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
That's just his personal icon, anyway. Huh.
Yeah, but tell him I said hello, and, he'll know who it's from, you know what I'm saying?
I doubt it, anyway. So, unfortunately, without that, you really have no evidence to refute my argument that, Ulfric did not
No.
cause the division of Skyrim. He merely gave a voice to what everyone else was feeling. So,
Yeah.
since you have no evidence to counter that, I guess we'll just move on to the next step.
Yeah.
Point number 8. Ignoring the greater threat of the dragons. Oh, I gotta hear this one. You say, with the return of the dragons, the Stormcloaks civil war distracts Skyrim from the bigger threat facing the province. Okay, come on, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Oh, you know, the Stormcloaks, they're like fucking dragons. Those guys aren't even real. Like, they're just fairy tales, you know? And they just ignore it. That's it.
That's that is complete asinine. First of all, it's the Whiterun guards who argue that who thought that the dragons that the dragons were only a myth. Because and let's be honest, and let's remember here that when you fight the first dragon, no matter who you side with in the war, that it's always guaranteed to be run by the Whiterun is always guaranteed to be run by Jarl Balgruuf at that point in time, who ultimately sides with the Empire. But and they're the only ones who ever act like the dragons were only ever a myth. In fact, I don't think anybody ever believed that dragons were merely a myth. I thought they were, a lot of people thought they were extinct, but there's like bones and records of them, so it's not like they never existed. They were as real to the people of Tamriel as dinosaurs are to us. But barring that, you say that the Stormcloak war is distracting from the threat of the dragons. Once again, I couldn't see how this could be any further from the truth, and my best evidence for this is the quest Season Unending. When you go to the leaders of each army and try to get them to attend the peace conference, Tullius only cares about how the dragons are attacking so frequently that it's making it impossible for him to move troops and supplies around. So he only cares about the dragons to the extent it impedes his ability to fight the war. And he literally says he wasn't sent to Skyrim to fight dragons. By contrast, when you go to Ulfric to do the same thing, all you have to do is give that line, "Politics be damned, Alduin has returned." And just by name-dropping Alduin, Ulfric immediately understands the gravity of the situation, and he agrees to attend the peace conference. So, you say that the Stormcloaks are the ones distracting from the greater threat of the dragons? To the contrary, there's ample evidence in the game to suggest that the Imperials are far more at fault for that. So that's...
What?
Yeah. So
Oh, okay. Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll.
were you listening just now?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have anything to say in response to that?
I think Stormcloaks caused this great divide between like the people of Skyrim and peace for the Imperials, you know? Because the Imperials, they wanna bring about peace, and they actually take the dragon seriously. While Stormcloaks, I feel like they worship the dragon, you know, like kind of like the dragon's like a Buddhist priest or something, you know.
Stormcloaks certainly do not worship the dragons. In fact, that was the Draugr who used to worship the dragons. But the dragon wars were what put an end to the dragons being worshipped, and that was eons ago. The Nords absolutely do not worship the dragons.
No, you gotta look at it like the Nords, from the Nords' point of view, okay? So the Nords, they look at the dragons like mystical beings, okay? They know that the dragons are real, but they don't want to acknowledge their presence. Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't, because I don't see any evidence for it.
You gotta remember where these people came from, okay? Where did the Nords come from?
At Mora.
Exactly. Where did the dragons come from?
They were just always on Nirn. They were never from anywhere. They were from Akatosh. They were given birth by Akatosh, but the Nirn had always been their domain.
let me ask you something, alright? Listen. Have you ever seen the movie How to Train Your Dragon?
Nope.
Just bear with me here.
Nope, never seen it.
Never? Okay.
No.
So let me kind of like break it down for you here, alright? Essentially, in that movie, they are like Viking Nords, okay? Right? And essentially, they're fighting dragons and shit like that. So essentially, what I'm trying to get at here is, alright, the Nords pretty much know where the dragons live. And they're kind of allied and they worship them in a way. Does that make sense?
But they don't. They haven't done that for eons. Not since the Draugr. And not since the Dragon Wars.
Well, you know what they say. Old habits, they die hard, you know?
But
They're definitely around. You gotta look real hard in Skyrim for them. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have any examples of contemporary dragon-worshipping Nords in Skyrim?
The Dragonborn?
No, he's not he doesn't worship the dragons. And the Greybeards don't worship the dragons either. The Greybeards worship the 8 or 9 divines. They do not worship the dragons. The Greybeards dedicate their lives to using the voice in service of worshiping the gods, but that is not they don't worship the dragons. So, no, that is nowhere in the lore, unless you can provide a source. Which you haven't provided a single source yet.
Yeah, but I think it's in a book. We gotta find the books, you know?
Well, find it!
Unfortunately, I lost all my files for the books.
Oh, well,
I had it.
Yeah,
I had it.
You keep mentioning these books but you can't cite a single one of them.
But one of them is the Book of Thaddeus.
Thaddeus, how do you spell that?
T. No, wait, no, sorry. PHAT. And then IEUS. Thaddeus.
Okay, let's see here. Does not exist.
Yeah, it should be there.
It does not exist. It's not in the UASP.
I insist it exists. I'm pretty sure I found it in Windhelm. If I'm good. No, not Windhelm. The City of Thieves.
That's not even in the Elder Scrolls.
No, it should be there. But you know what I'm talking about. The City of Thieves, not in Skyrim.
Riften?
Not Riften. I think. If I'm correct,
it's not. There is no person or book in the Elder Scrolls franchise that is named Thaddeus right here. I spelled it exactly as you told me to spell it, and there is no page for it on the UESP. So,
no, just keep looking. It should be there.
What is the spelling of it? Is this how you spell it?
No. Hold on. Let me double check. Let me double check your stream. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I was playing Thaddeus. Yeah, that's it. Thaddeus. Okay, he was like a big guy. He was like a big guy in
there
lore.
Is no NPC. There's no page on UESP for that. And if he was anywhere in any of the games, there would have been at least one page on him. I'm sorry, but there was just not. I'm sorry, but there was.
It's gotta be there. You gotta look, man. You gotta look faster, man. Please. Because he was like a big character in the game too. I'm pretty sure he was there.
I am not aware. I have never heard of this guy before, and I've done every major quest in the game multiple times. So,
what about the Skeleton King quest?
Skeleton King? Is that like a creation club or something?
Yeah.
Then that's a mod, that's not canon. Sorry.
Look, even one of your subscribers, he just said, hold on a second. Aaron says, Thaddeus, an Oblivion character. So I know there's gotta be a book about him there. You gotta read through it.
Oblivion. Thaddeus.
Yeah, because Thaddeus should be in this game, or at least a book from him to Skyrim. It's like a love letter to Skyrim, you know?
only an author of a book, and he's never actually appeared in the game in the flesh, that he wouldn't have his own page for him. What's the book that he wrote?
One second. And who's this Aaron guy think he is, dude? Listen, Aaron, I know who you are in real life. I'll find you, dude. And maybe give you a big smooch on the cheek? I don't know. But I'll do it. I'll do it.
Anyway,
just let him know. Let him know, Acer Thorn. Let him know.
Anyway,
Mr. Thorn.
well, he can hear you. He can hear you. Anyway.
Okay, good. I'm watching you.
Yeah, we're looking at. I'm still trying to find this. What is it? What is it you're trying to say? What is it? Were you even trying to prove anymore?
I don't even remember. We were just trying to figure out where this Book of Thaddeus is, because it should be there. Like it should be at least like recorded in the Skyrim database there.
Yeah, but it's not.
Might I add, I didn't even know it was a thing. That's pretty cool. I might use that.
I've heard this referred to as the gold standard for online wikis, so yeah, it is a great tool for researching Elder Scrolls lore.
You ever like, have you ever heard that, like, the online thing of that every online conversation will kind of round out back to Hitler?
Nah, I've never heard about that before. Anyway.
Oh yeah, dude. 9 times out of 10, it's real.
That must be like Rule 35 or something.
No, Rule 35 is like something about porn, and Rule 34 is the other one.
Rule 34
that's right.
is if you can imagine it, there is porn of it on the internet somewhere. That's Rule 34. That's.
You think there's Rule 34 view out there?
Possibly. Anyway.
See, that's not good, dude. That's not good. You gotta call the police like right now on those people.
Anyway,
Right.
So. You pretty much there is no evidence that the Stormcloaks are ignoring the threat of the dragons, but there's ample evidence that the Imperials are. That the Empire
that's right.
Yeah, that's what we were
That's my fault.
About.
Yep. I'm sure that like well, I guess I won't reference the Book of Thaddeus anymore, but what I will say is, right, the Stormcloaks seem to ignore it a little bit more than the Imperials, you know? The Imperials, you know, I'm pretty sure the Imperials, they're kind of locked in that the dragons aren't really that real, that they're a myth in legend even, you know? Which obviously isn't true. Let's dragons are real.
Yeah.
Fatty ass. Hell yeah. Hell yeah! Sorry, I get a little excited. Anyways, so what I'm trying to say is, yeah, you know, that's just how it goes, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see how that makes, Ulfric at fault in this manner. He's not ignoring the threat of the dragons. Once he understands what's at stake, he quickly acquiesces to a truce. Yeah. So...
false. I think it's like, it took him like 5 days
to discuss.
Yeah, but see what happens in 30 minutes? Like, he just sits there and just eats his fucking, like, grilled cheese sandwich or whatever they have in Skyrim nowadays, you know, like, thinking on the idea, you know? And that's messed up. That's really messed up, you know? People are out there, they're giving their lives for this Ulfric guy, but he's not even taking action against the dragons? That's unbelievable. And honestly, it shouldn't stand for that.
Well,
yeah.
He is taking action. He is the same role as every other Jarl in putting out...
For sure, taking action, eating that fucking sandwich he was eating. I'll tell you that much for free. But, like a real Jarl, he should be out there, you know, fighting like the dragons and hunting them down himself, making hunting parties, you know? Listen, alright? In this world, there's only two, oh, hold on a minute. Hold on 1 second. Isn't General Tullius the one who sticks in his stick in... Isn't... Oh man, I can't even read what this guy says. Isn't General Tullius the one who stick in his castle debating Ricky while doing nothing real useful? Wrong, Mr. Aaron. Let me tell you something, okay? First off, General Tullius is plotting and ploying. He's not sticking around, you know, in his castle. He's plotting and ploying. Every good general needs to strategize their strategies. And in this case, Alfred Stormcloaks doesn't have one, okay? His strategy is to sit in his castle and eat a sandwich or something. You know? While Alfred Stormcloak is indeed, he's like a pretty powerful warrior guy who could go out there. General Tullius, he's like an old dude, man. That guy's old. Now, of course, from the point of view, like, General Tullius could really just, like, no differ 1v1 Phosphor talent. Aren't other Jarls doing the same, like sitting in throne, eating sandwich, and chanting others as well? No, wrong. Because General Thalius, or well, they might be. I don't know. I didn't really talk to the other ones. I just talked to General Tullius. And you know, everybody likes General Tullius if you think about it. He's kind of like Caesar, you know.
Frankly, I mean, Ulfric spends just as much time in his castle strategizing with Galmar Stonefist. So.
Yeah.
Neither of them is doing nothing. I will concede to that.
I disagree with that. I think Alfred is not as diligent as General Tullius. Let's look back at General Tullius's early life. He then became a general. So, if you really think about it, General Tullius has way more experience than Mr. Storm Yell Myself to Power Cloak. You know? That's my opinion, you know?
Mm-hmm. In any event, the point we were talking about was ignoring the threat of the dragons, and frankly, I don't see it. So I suppose we should just move on to the next point here. So number 9, Ulfric's. You misspelled. You've been calling him Alfred this whole stream, and you even have him called Alfred in your notes. It's Ulfric, actually. Anyway,
no, it's Alfred, dude. In game. Like the 5th time it's come out.
Alright, anyway.
Bethesda doesn't want to release a new game.
I hear they're remaking Oblivion from the ground up using the Unreal 5 engine.
Dude, they need to make Fallout already. They need to make a new Fallout, dude. I was watching the TV show. Let me tell you something, okay? Alright, I'm a big Fallout guy, alright? I love Fallout. And I like what they did with the show. I'll say that on record here right now. I like what they did with the show. But goddamn, dude, they need to make like they need to make a new like fucking game, man. Fallout 76 was a disaster though. That shit was like a fucking. You ever seen like an airplane falling down from the sky catching fire? I have. That shit was like that. That shit was bad.
Okay. Anyway,
yeah.
Your next point here was that Ulfric Stormcloaks' rebellious methods often seem more self-serving than altruistic. Please explain what you mean, and when I say explain what you mean, bear in mind you agree to the 6 rules of that I set forth, uncorroborated accusations, to justify what Ulfric's motives are. So please give me some actual admissible evidence that Ulfric is more in it for himself than he is for the people of Skyrim.
Like, immediately at the start of the game. Let's just start right at the immediate start of the... Wait, hold on 1 second. Just go... I literally didn't see Tullius involved in any important roles at all except dealing... You would have seen he actually does something for the Imperials, so... At the first beginning of the game, what happens? Boom, you get captured. Because you were what? Trying to cross the border, right? Now, here's what happens, okay? They ship you over to what was it called? And I name dropped it earlier. I forgot the city. Where did they take you?
Helgen.
Helgen, that's right. They take you to Helgen, and what they do for you is they say like you're pretty much a guy who... Oh, hold on a minute. It's just, well, somebody made a video about why General Tullius is a genius, purely based on his own bias, and everyone else believes that guy. I didn't actually watch that video, Mr. Aaron. I actually completely just, like, made it off of my own thoughts, you know? And, yeah, maybe you should, you know, lock in and think for yourself. Anyways, back to what I was saying.
Hey, Aaron, is this the video you're talking about right here? This is from 5 years ago.
Let's see. Yeah, exactly. That video I didn't even watch. I didn't even watch that one. General Tullius is a genius in Skyrim. Yeah, no, I didn't even, like, watch that. That's like, yeah, maybe I should have watched that, actually. It looks good. Anyhow, we're getting off track. Let's get back to it. So the first thing that happens, you get taken to Helgen, and they're about to chop your head off. Now, why? Because they caught you, quote unquote, crossing the border, and also because you were with a group of who's, well, or at least not necessarily with them, but you were kind of like in the area they were, the rebels. And who did they capture? Ulfric Stormcloak himself. Boom diggity dog! Yep, they captured him himself, and so in them capturing you and thinking you were with Ulfric Storm. Now, granted, one of the guys were like, "Wait, we shouldn't kill him. I mean, he didn't do a crime." And then the lady was like, just chop his head off." Yeah, you know that happens in the Imperial, but to be fair, if it wasn't for Ulfric Storm, the events of the game would have never taken place, because you would have never been captured by the rebels, and you would have never been well, you know, you would have crossed the border of Skyrim. That's pretty much how it is. So.
Okay. First of all,
not in it. It was like around the area they were in.
Still no.
Because like because like
found with the
no.
Because, and I know this because if you follow Rayloff through Helgen Crossing, and that's about on the border between Riftenholt and Windhelmholt. The Rift and East, pretty much like, as far as latitude is concerned, it's pretty much in the center of Skyrim, but basically due east of the Throat of the World, the mountain. So they captured Ulfric and his band of Stormcloak rebels. They captured him there, and then they basically just started going south to try and take him back to Cyrodiil for an execution before they decided to take a detour to Helgen and do it there instead. So when they decided to take that detour, that's where they caught the player character. So they knew he wasn't part of the rebels. They captured him entirely independent. That they did not. He was never considered to be part of the Stormcloak rebellion. He was even barring that. If the Empire was just gonna execute, they were known Stormcloaks. If they were wearing the Stormcloak armor and were proudly proclaiming their loyalty to Ulfric Stormcloak like Rayloff was, I would have no one else. If they were to be executed without trial, frankly, that. I don't care if it was Ulfric doing his thing that got you there in the first place, Empire's hands. So no, they are 100% the bad guys because they were going to execute you without trial. No, I
don't know, because look, in the beginning of the game, the guy was like, "Hey, you were caught crossing the border, huh?" But really, it's like, you were with the group, and that's what happened, you know. And like I said, that's why it's like a division of people, if that makes sense, you know. Because Alfred, he got you caught, and therefore it's just kind of like leading to all that, you know?
I'd still see how it's Ulfric's fault that we were about to be summarily executed, as opposed to the Empire's fault for wanting to do it without giving us a trial first.
Well, what I'm saying is, if it wasn't for Alfred sneaking around out there, we wouldn't have gotten caught. Therefore, you know, we would have been fine. Just how it goes, you know?
Feel, is that literally your only argument for why Ulfric's actions are selfish and self-serving?
No, there's also like been like rumors around Skyrim that he's like pillage and plunder.
I already explained in the
Yeah.
rules that you agreed to. Those don't
Yeah.
count. Yeah, but they don't know what they're talking about. They don't have personal knowledge of it.
Yeah, they do. They live in Skyrim,
So what
trapped
are
in
they
the
saying?
game. They're saying it.
It? Then what is it?
It, you know, as in like he did it. He pillaged and plundered my village.
I've not heard anyone accuse Ulfric of personally plundering their village. I've heard a lot of people.
Well, you gotta.
I've heard some people in Karthwasten say that these Silver Bloods are.
From their point of view, right? You gotta think about it.
I'm not. You haven't given me any sources though.
Well, I gave you the one source, but we couldn't find it.
Yeah, well,
You gotta think about that.
If you can't give me a source that's actually in the game, it doesn't count.
No, it's in there. You gotta look for it. We gotta look for it.
Well, if you can
gotta go
find
on a
it,
scavenger
you can post
hunt.
a comment on this stream when I
Yeah.
post it as a VOD to YouTube. I'll repost both of these parts as one, and then you can post a comment giving me your
Yeah.
source. But until then, you got nothing. I mean, if you have it, then it's your burden to show it.
That is true. But listen, the audience knows for it, you know?
All right.
It'll come up. It'll come up. So, audience, help me out here. Do you think Alfred Stormcloak is actually
They think it. I want to see
Yeah.
actual in-game evidence for it. So if anybody in the chat wants to post a source that's actually that's the sources only. Mods don't count. Fan theories don't count. The only
Yeah.
exception is the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages. So
Yeah.
if somebody admissible source that shows that Ulfric has done things that can only really be attributed to selfishness instead of military ambition, and see any evidence for it.
Absolutely.
Ugh.
We just gotta wait for it, you know? Just give it a minute. It should be coming.
In the meantime, let's move on to point number 10. This is the last two of the points, so I think we might want to just forego the intermission that we decided on earlier, where I said if we lasted until 3:30, we'll take a 30-minute intermission. We're already at the last 2 points anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point number.
Wait,
10,
what about for some of your points there?
Oh, I already made my points in the original video. I'm just
Yeah.
responding to your points now.
Oh, that's fair. You know, like, what do you think about like the Jagged King though?
The Jagged King? The hell?
Yeah, the
Jagged Crown.
King.
You mean
The Jagged King? Yeah, the crown. Whoever gets the crown.
It's. I think that's more to do with how the storyline is scripted
Yeah.
than it is actual lore.
Who do you think should get it though?
Obviously, I think Ulfric is because I side with the Stormcloaks.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. In any event,
Oh.
I
don't really care who gets it.
point. The threat of civil war and destruction. The Stormcloak Rebellion has already caused significant bloodshed and destruction. Continuing the war would only further destabilize Skyrim and make it more vulnerable to external threats like the dragons. Okay.
So, like, if they keep doing this war stuff, they're cooked. Does that make sense? Side with.
Side with the Stormcloaks, and side with either army, actually. So it doesn't, as siding with the Empire, so I don't see how it does you any favors regarding which side we should take. It's just like I explained to both sides are equally guilty, or both sides equally have the same benefit, then they cancel out and doesn't really do us any favors.
Think about it. I think if you want to get rid of the threat and destruction, I think we're going to have to go with the Imperials because they have bigger army, and everybody knows bigger army equals quicker murder of the what are they called? The motherfucking dragons alive. Okay, everybody hates the dragons for some odd reason. That's why we need to get rid of the dragons, you know? You know? That's why when you say this, like, you know, the Imperials, the Stormcloaks should just shake hands and take out the dragons, you know?
Raven...
Home.
Home. Raven home?
No, Holm. Holm, if I'm correct.
Raven...
Or, maybe. Let me double check. I might have the spelling a little off. Are you, streaming on, Twitch, by the way?
No, I'm streaming on YouTube.
Oh.
Let me see
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just how the cookie crumbles, right? No. Honestly, like, yeah, if you were to ask me, I think Cadians are better than the, Tyranids.
So, do you have anything else to add to this argument?
Like the threat of civil war?
Yeah, the Civil War and the destruction. It's mostly just, yeah, it doesn't mean you should side with the Empire, it means you should just side with one side and then stick with it, and then just get it over with as quickly as possible. That's basically my argument there, but that just me...
Cloak, he's just kind of an N-law, to be honest. And honestly, like, if you're gonna side with that N-law, I think you shouldn't, because, like, how do I say this, man? Like... I think it would be better to side with what's his name? General Thaddeus there. Thaddeus, sorry. So yeah, that's my take on it, you know? That's my take on it.
Okay. Okay, so the 11th and final point to discuss here. Weak leadership. Ulfric's leadership is frequently questioned due to his focus on glory and personal power. Okay, so I actually dedicated an entire section of my original video called "The Better High Than Elisith is a High Queen." So, yeah, do you have anything to say in response to that?
I forgot to watch your video.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to like refresh me here.
Okay.
I only chose like the Stormcloak route though, to be honest with you. I thought they were better. So you gotta refresh me here. We're gonna watch?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have you watch section 12.
Okay.
We'll just pick we'll just pick up from there. Okay?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Alright, let's see. Ah, shit, man. You have so many videos. Fuck.
I'm gonna watch it on the stream.
Oh, okay, we're gonna watch. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you have a lot of videos.
We're in the home stretch. But there's one last
They haven't
posted.
Okay, let me take a look. Hold on. Let me take a look.
Look at the date it was posted.
Hey.
Watch. This
That's
section
funny.
of my original video.
Yeah,
Alright.
Yeah. Let's take a look. Hold on. You live in Eastern Europe?
No. Now let's watch this, alright? Can we watch this now?
Oh, yeah, we can. Wait, hold on. There we go. Oh, also your stream keeps, like, buffering. There we go.
I don't know why. I'm...
Like, you got Spectrum?
Look, I don't know. I can't fix it right now. And we're already... Watch this. If you interrupt one more time, I'm done. Alright?
Okay.
We're going to watch this now.
Okay. Damn, it's like
We're in the home scatter High Monarch. It's a shame we can't have Balgruuf be the High King. I think Bethesda intentionally didn't include him because they knew that if everyone thought he was an option, everyone would instantly...
By the way, I don't agree with your Fallout video. I watched that.
Okay, you know what? I told you. No.
Yeah.
Fuck this. Time
Yeah.
that we were
Just
done.
wait, hold on, wait.
So
just give me a chance.
I'm sorry. No.
No.
I
Lock
told
in.
you.
You gotta lock it.
Fuck this. that I was just fed up, so he could rebut it. We were done. So no, we were at the last point anyway. So I'm just gonna. So for agreeing to do this debate with me, I'm